told me a few years ago that the keyboard hobby would have CNC aluminium keyboards with nice mounting styles and backweights in stock, I wouldn't have believed you. This year alone, we've seen some releases that are standout boards in the budget category, being easily accessible for newer enthusiasts and long-time type beasts alike. So much so that this board slipped under my radar a little bit. So let's have a look at the latest in-stock budget keyboard from Luminkey's, how I think it compares face to face with other boards in the category, and where I think we'll see developments in the budget category from here on out. So let's start with a stock sound test. Now, the Luminkey80 is a tenkeyless F13 board that is available in both wing-key and wing-keyless options, in three colours being E-Retro White, Silver Anno and the Black Anno that I have here, along with a corresponding artisan for the colour that you choose. The boards will come with a copper backweight as well as front badge that can be seen above the arrow cluster. The rest of the design is pretty classic in the sense that it has a nice but inoffensive side profile, a 7-degree typing angle and fairly sized bezels that aren't noticeably small, nor are they on the larger side. From a consumer perspective, this board's an interesting one, being offered either bare bones or fully built with pre-lubed Gateron switches and double shot PVT caps in the colour of your choosing, as long as your choice is white on black or beige. The switches were pretty great straight out of the box. The lube job isn't as consistent as what we've come to expect from the B-Sun switches in the space, but for the most part they were pretty damn close. The silver switches are a linear switch with a nylon top and bottom housing and a long pole pom stem that produces a nice clacky sound signature, even with all of the pre-installed foam straight out of the box. The tri-mode hot-swap PCB is non-flex cut and offers a variety of layout options, which is always a big plus for me with these budget-friendly options. But the gasket mount plate is only available in PC, so if you're after a firmer typing feel and a less flexy plate, this is something to keep in mind. The last thing I want to cover about the design of the board itself are the badges. These are offered in both black PVD and stainless PVD to replace the copper badge on the front. As much as I like this option for customization, I would have liked to see matching backweights, and maybe had this as a separate bare bones option, rather than having to purchase these as add-ons if you never have any intention of using the copper badges. Now, as I said at the start of this video, this keyboard did slip under my radar a little bit. Aside from seeing a few videos online of the Luminkey75, I hadn't actually heard much about the brand until recently. Luminkey itself is a sub-brand of Create Keeps, who are a Chinese design studio that have made numerous boards that have made an impact on the hobby in some shape or form. Boards like the Luminkey80 with the stunning mirror backweight, along with the Terra75 which have both a V1 and V2 release now. Not to mention the SOTC switches with the standout LY long pole stem, which all in all made me more excited to see what they cooked up with the Luminkey80. So after configuring this exactly how I'd choose to make it, what do I think of the board? Well, the overall design of the Luminkey80 is very simplistic yet arguably timeless, and in my eyes it's a much more mature angle from a design perspective than the Luminkey75 that released prior. I think the extremely common font script logos are very hit and miss, so I'm glad that they didn't include this on the board, although the design could be seen as boring dependent on the individual's taste. As much as I like it, I almost think it gives office vibes, and offering silent switches for the pre-built version would have been great for a sleeper build. From this sense, I wish they'd added some sort of branding, far away from the script font logos, but just something to give the board some of its own character. When talking about the board, the first comparison I make with this is to the QK80. The personal design language that is very apparent on the newer offerings from QWERTYKEY's lineup gives the brand a cohesive identity that you look at and kinda already know as QWERTYKEY's board. I don't know, I might just be thinking way too much into this. Don't get me wrong, I love how the board sounds, feels and looks, and I completely understand the angle of clean and minimal that they've gone for, but a little bit more branding wouldn't have gone amiss from my point of view, is the point I'm trying to make. I mentioned the badges and weight options, but I would have loved to see some other plate options offered as well. I think it would be great with an alu plate for my own personal preference, given how nice and clacky it sounds. And with other budget boards starting to do this, I think it's a great way to appeal to a wider number of enthusiasts. But the fact they're offering both ISO and ANSI on the hot swap PCB is a big step in the right direction from me from a budget board perspective. I've given this board a lot of heat, but I think it's because of how good the anno quality and overall build quality of the board is. I kinda expect this thing to hold up to the standards of high-end customs. And when you compare this to pre-built to other boards in that category at this price range, this thing blows them out the water. It's rare to see an out-of-the-box board that's usable, well, out the box. And having the option to tinker around with the switches, the phone configuration and layout preferences if you want to jump a little bit more into the hobby after purchasing this is a fantastic gateway. There are only so many variations of this budget board surprise me that I can think of to title a video like this. And as this hobby continues to be saturated with great budget boards that are accessible and look, sound and feel fantastic straight out of the box, the thing that's really going to draw people into whether they want to pick up a certain new board release is the design. The hobby was once upon a time a thing of exclusivity that drew people in. The FOMO of the group buy model, but with the COVID bubble now popped and a lot of people probably being one and done buyers, it will be interesting to see if the new budget options that pop up continue to bring new ideas to the table. We seem to be seeing a lot of magnetic top cases in upcoming budget boards and interesting closure mechanisms that make building and rebuilding boards easier than ever for newer and older enthusiasts alike. I know personally I'm bored of having to build, rebuild, lube, film and spring swap switches, and I think it's probably true for a number of enthusiasts in the hobby in its current state. There's a reason that the new B-Sun switches seem to be everywhere and the Aphelion Melody switches have garnered a lot of hype. Anything with a stellar factory lube job that can go straight into a build without having to spend 5 hours tuning it to your precise specifications is going to be a winner. If it's stellar from the word go. Overall, the Luminkey80 stands out to me compared to other options for its classic look and timeless design that could make it mainstay in a number of setups. The hand lube stabs are fantastic, the pre-lube switches are pretty great too, and after rebuilding this thing to my exact preferences, I have to say I've really been enjoying the board. Like anything in this hobby, it comes down to preference, and I hope Luminkey continue this design language with future releases. But it would be great to have the option of different place and back weights going forward. Now, that's all from me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments what you think of the board. All my socials are linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and I will see you nerds in the next one. Peace!